Hi guys! I want to talk to you about the four, at least, main herbs used to smudge by Native Americans. You will find these in accordance to the directions, the medicine wheel, etc. The first one, and my favorite, is sage. Now this particular one is white sage. White sage is a lot smoother, a lot stronger in my opinion than desert sage, which has smaller leaves. It's more stemmy looking than this, which has the big leaves, which I don't know if you guys can see that, but yeah. I love white sage. Be careful though, always with smudge sticks, do not leave them lit, because I once overpoweredly smudged the hell out of my room, my bedroom, and it was pretty much unsleepable for about a week for my boyfriend. That's another thing. You either like the smell of sage or you hate it. I've never found anyone who was middle ground on the smell of sage. For me, the smell of sage and this, which is sweetgrass, and I'll get to in a second, these two together remind me of back home. They remind me of powwows. They remind me of drums and flutes and just the earth. It's a very powerful smell for me. So a lot of times I will use these two specifically. Sage is a good protector. It drives away the bad or evil spirits, if you believe in evil, you know. It gets rid of stagnant energy, things that are stuck, lingering, negative. It is very good at defining a space. Like if you were to smudge your home to get rid of, you know, the negative crud, you would use sage first to drive out the bad and set the circle, and then you would probably burn something like either tobacco or sweetgrass at the end, because they are used for blessings and they attract good spirits because of their sweet smell and their soft nature. So yeah. And a lot of you are saying, well, tobacco doesn't smell soft, but if you're referring to cigarettes and that kind of thing, that's not really how true tobacco smells. I encourage you to go to a powwow or something and find actual, just plain tobacco and smell it. It's actually a very pleasant smell, in my opinion. So sage is a protector. Sage is offense, if you will. Cedar as well, which this bundle has some pine needles in it too. But the cedar right there, or juniper, a lot of times they're used interchangeably because juniper can be called cedar, but not all cedar is juniper, if that makes any sense. A lot of times, like I think there's a strain in California that is actually cedar and not from the juniper family. So, I mean, it can be called cedar, but have nothing to do with juniper. This in particular, I'm fairly positive, is the kind that is actually juniper, so it's one and the same. It's whatever. But I see a lot of places calling them two different things. I see some places saying that they are the same. That's just how I feel about it. I think that they're... yeah, that's my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but that's how I've always thought of it. Anyway, getting back to cedar. Cedar is also an offense, in a sense. A cedar purifies. The cedar is traditionally used to carry prayers up to the Creator, the Great Spirit, the universal energy, your god or goddess, whatever you want to identify it as. That's traditionally what it's used as. You burn it while you're praying, and the smoke carries the message up into the world and out into the universe. It as well drives out the bad spirits or anything negative. It's much like sage in that sense. However, it also is sometimes said to bring in good as well. So it's kind of both. And also, cedar is considered extremely sacred to specifically the Pacific Northwest Native Americans, that area. And I don't know, I like it, but I would be careful in terms of carrying it around the house. Smudging, I would definitely have it wrapped tighter than this one. This one's more of like, I'm going to break some off and burn it on a charcoal kind of thing. But if you're going to smudge your house, make sure it's wrapped a little better, and you've got something under it, maybe even like an abalone shell to catch anything, you know? And that's another thing. A lot of people use abalone shells to hold their smudge stick or to burn things in. Some Native Americans think that this is not the way that you do it because this represents the ocean and water, and I don't know why I said water like that. Water, whatever. It represents water, and when you mix this for fire and earth, they say that it's not the correct way to do it. But you know what? I think it all depends on what feels right for you. I understand that this is, you know, it has something to do with heritage, but you know, just like any religion or spirituality anywhere else, any other culture, you kind of take what feels right to you and you do it. And, you know, there's no offense in that, I think, to the Native Americans. I just think that people say that there are a lot of right and wrong ways, and I don't think that they exist, right and wrong. So, it's whatever feels comfy. But, yeah, so you can use an abalone shell. Some people don't, but it is a possibility. This one itself has little glass circles on the bottom of it, glued to it, so that it can set off the ground, and you can lay something in it burning, and it won't touch anything. This is actually the thing that my smudge was laying in when I lit the bedroom almost on fire. Okay, it was on like smolder. I lit the bedroom on smolder, if you will. Nothing was harmed. It just, you know, smelled a whole lot like desert sage. And actually that's where my desert sage smudge stick went. That's why I don't have it. It burned like the whole thing. Our bedroom was a cloud of smoke and it was disastrous. So that's another thing. Never leave these burning unattended. And if you walk away and you think that it's done, yeah, just don't. Make sure, positively sure that there is no embers in there. It is not smoking at all. And if you're a little paranoid about it, you can get a little bit of water and just dip it in and lay it out. But realize that if you do that, you can't use it right away, obviously, because it's wet. You gotta wait. Let it dry, then you'll be able to use it again. But I've gotten so now, I get a little bit paranoid, so yeah, I do sometimes dip it in a little bit of water, just in case. You know, let's not have another reenactment, if you will. So cedar is also used to banish, but also to bring in good things. Yeah. Then there is Sweetgrass, which is another personal favorite of mine. And Sweetgrass, it smells like if you took the smell of a cornfield, like in the fall, and made it a little bit sweeter, like a natural sweet, not a syrupy sweet, but a little bit sweeter, that light sweet, weedy smell, I guess. That's what it smells like to me. I love this smell. Anyway, Sweetgrass usually comes in braids. It can be bundled up in a cloth occasionally, but it usually comes in braids. This is actually a little braid. Sometimes it comes really long, like, you know, maybe double this even. And a lot of times, like this one is mostly brown because it's all the way dried. But you can also get some that have a lot of green in the tip of the braid. So Yeah, and those are really pungent and awesome. Sweetgrass is traditionally used as a blessing or an offering. Think of it as something that you might burn for your ancestors as a blessing or something special for them, to bring them around, or in honor of them even. So essentially, a lot of times, people will smudge their house with sage, which is a protector, ward off all the evil, get rid of anything that is negative or stagnant or whatever, or stuck. And then they will go, and usually I walk counterclockwise when I smudge the house in this, and I treat the house like a big disjointed circle, if you will. Like I do it along the walls the whole way in a clockwise. Every single room leads into that, all of that. Closets, everything. Once I've got that, some people like to go in with cedar afterwards because it carries prayers. I personally don't really do that. Cedar I only burn if I'm in like actual ritual, with, you know, circle cast and all that. But these two I will burn together in my house, probably about once a month at least. If I am feeling more stuff, more ucky stuff, if I get in a funk, something like that, I will burn it again. So it's all on your mood. Pay attention to when you start getting kind of bleh in your house and smudge. See if it helps. It does a tremendous job in lightening the area. But this would ward out. This would get rid of negative. This would keep them at bay. This would move all the stagnant energy. You know, that kind of thing. It protects and casts a line, or it casts a circle. And then this is left to bring in good, because, you know, law of attraction, you get rid of one thing, something else is going to come back in and replace it. No hole is left unfilled. Giggity. But no hole is left unfilled, so therefore something needs to replace it. Well, what are you going to replace it with? You don't want more bad stuff to come in, so you burn this, and this brings in the good. This brings in good spirits, good feelings, good energy. You know, sweet attracts sweets. You could cut some off of this into some sand in a cauldron with a charcoal or something on it. You could light it and just wave it around. Be careful with that, because don't let it get too much on fire, because you'll have little pieces of sweetgrass all over the place. Another one that I have is tobacco. Tobacco is for healing. Tobacco is also an offering, much like sweetgrass. Sweet smell, sweet taste. Some of you are thinking, you know, tobacco is not a sweet smell. You know, I've smelled cigarettes and ew. But keep in mind, this is actual tobacco. This is not the chemically treated, overly processed crap that they shove into a cigarette. Tobacco itself actually has a sweet smell. And I encourage you, if you've never smelled it, to find some. Go to an herb store or something like that. Find some actual tobacco and smell it. You'll see it's not the same smell at all.